Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Friday's study of the Srimad-bhagavatam in snowy upstate New York, and Kaustubha's there. And is it snowing? We had a little blizzard last night, my friend.
Might have been more rain. I don't see any.
Not really.
Dark out there, but I don't think so. I don't think it's snowed. I guess I'll find out soon.
And good morning, Mara, our producer, who has.
Good morning, Prabhu.
Kaustubha, check it out. She's got the new haircut.
I noticed that immediately. I noticed these things.
I noticed those
True.
things too. I'm not one of those oblivious men. I noticed those things.
And it looks great. I looked at it, I said, oh, this is fantastic. But then when I heard that it cost $600 for that haircut,
The $600 haircut. You can't
I
get,
said
you
to
can't get a
myself,
haircut
that's just
like
too much.
that's
Raghu, you're spreading bad rumors here.
He told me it cost $600. Is that true?
It's not true.
It's not true. She got at the beauty school. The beauty school. No, it's very nice. Whatever you paid for it, it's fine with us.
That's exactly what a lady likes to hear about her new haircut. It's okay. It's fine with us.
It's fine with us. That looks lovely.
It does. It's got kind of bangs for those people who are out there in the
Not
audio
watching.
world, right?
Yeah, the audio world. Come on, join our little live world. It's fun. Write to Mara. Mara with the bangs at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. You can join us live here on Zoom every day. Practically speaking, every day. And it's
Okay,
yeah.
The haircut appreciations are coming in now.
Oh, there they go. The board is flooded. Watch out.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, my friend,
Yeah.
you got any announcements, Kaustubha? You got any
No.
announcements about our little retreat with Satchidananda Maharaj?
Well, we're holding off on. I mean, we will announce this very soon, but we can throw
Let's
the
give him a
dates out
teaser.
there.
Give him a teaser. Give him a teaser.
Okay, we'll give a teaser. I think it's what was it? June 7th through 10th, I believe. Mark it on your calendars. Upstate New York, Super Soul Farm, or it may have a new name by then. Right? We don't know. But Satchidananda Swami, amazing soul. People can look back. We've interviewed him a couple of times. Very deep person. Very sweet person. He will
Sweet
be with
and
us.
deep.
Sweet and deep. And he'll be with us. The three of us together will be doing a Wisdom of the Sages retreat that'll be focused especially on developing one's inner bhakti practice, right? Practices of chanting, hearing and chanting especially. It'll be like a sadhana thing. It'll be like going deeper into that internal practice. So we will have a retreat in upstate New York. I believe it begins on Tuesday the 7th, if that's correct, and ends on Friday morning.
And then we're going to pack it up.
Then
Check
the
this
next
out.
stage, next retreat comes right after, immediately follows it up.
In New York City.
In New York City. We did
Like
this
we-
last year, right?
Yep. We pack it up. We go to New York City Friday through Sunday, and it's the Rath Yatra weekend.
And it's a
So
big
it's
festival.
Jagannath Puri festival happening in New York City.
And so we do our thing at the Bhakti Center. Then we all pack it up on Saturday, go to the Rath Yatra Festival, and then we finish up Sunday.
We pack it up on Friday, right? The first retreat ends on Friday morning. Then we pack it up and we go to New York for Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday to celebrate the Rath Yatra Festival. This big, huge festival.
Yeah, the theory was this. If you're going away, some people are coming in from all over last year. We had people flying in from different places. Why not just fly in for a longer stay, come to the farm for a few days, and then we all go to the city together, and then we do our thing in the city. So you get a little country experience in June, and then you get a city experience.
So people are asking about the dates. I think the dates, I believe it's the 7th. We'll give you the official.
The weekend is the second weekend of June.
Yeah, but I think it begins on Tuesday evening, which is the 7th, the first retreat, and ends on Friday morning, the 10th. And then we pick it up on the 10th evening in New York City for the second retreat, and goes that 10th, 11th, and 12th. And it goes through the morning of the 12th.
You get to be a country mouse and a city mouse in 1 week.
All right. That'll be exciting.
That'll be exciting. I'm super excited.
And I think if people go to both, there's some kind of discount. You can pull the whole thing together, and something like that.
Rachel did it on the board. She put it on the board.
Oh, Rachel.
June 7th through the 10th. That's where it starts upstate at the farm, and then the 10th through the 12th in New York City. Yeah, super exciting.
And they can email bhaktiretreats108@gmail.com to sign up or get on the waiting list, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But hopefully within a couple of days or so, we'll have like all the information up online. Then we'll let you know.
Great.
All righty.
Any other announcements?
Yeah, we have a Bhakti Recovery Group meeting at 1 p.m. today. And Seth Lieberman is offering his Harmonium meetup group this Sunday at noon for Patreon members.
Okay.
How fun. Harmonium meetup group. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's great.
All right. You want a little nugget, Kaustubha? You ready for a little nugget?
You got one?
Yeah, I got one from Carl Jung. Everybody loves Carl Jung. He's like the most.
Is it Jung or is the
excuse me, Bunky. Bunky corrected me. It's Jung.
I was correcting you too.
You were correcting me too. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. And then maybe we could look at some art by Van Gogh. Van Gogh at the Reich Museum. Okay. From Carl Jung.
Okay.
Know all the theories, master all the techniques, but as you touch a human soul, be just another human soul.
Okay, I think that's good
Purport
advice.
by Kaustubha. Purport and commentary.
My purport on that? I assume he's speaking in the realm of psychiatry. But know all the theories. You have to prepare yourself, right? We need to be. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday, right? What was the context? When we're that Samadarshana verse, right? Vidya Vinaya Sampane. So Vidya, the person needs to be learned, but Vinaya, they also have to have all these good qualities, So character and competence together, they need to fit together. Like, say you need to be operated on, Raghunath, right?
Yes.
Say you needed to have I don't know, kidney transplant. Right.
All right. Thank you.
And so you wanted to make sure that you found a good surgeon to do this, right? So what would you look for? Well, you look for someone that's, obviously, graduated from the right schools and hopefully has done this before, right? Has been trained, properly and knows the techniques, But so say you found someone like that. They had all the techniques. They knew exactly what they're doing. But let's find out that you also found out some dark things about their character. Maybe they were selling organs on the black market. Right. So although they got the competence,
where are you going, sir?
They don't have the
Where
character.
are you going with this? And this is something I would say.
They don't have the
Stupid
character.
would never say this.
Okay, but say like you met someone that had really good character. They're honest. They're complete.
Okay.
But they didn't have the competence. Like they didn't really know what they're doing. So it needs both, right? And it seems to me that's what he's saying here. That like if you're trying to help, he's speaking in the field of. I assume he's speaking in the field of psychiatry. But I think this also applies to so many areas, including like the idea of like, let's say, understanding bhakti and helping another person understand it, right? Know all the theories, master all the techniques, right? Become qualified. We should all become qualified bhakti yogis. You know, we should learn the philosophy. We should practice and you know, and hopefully master these techniques. But as you touch a human soul, be just another human soul. You're coming with humility, right? You're coming. There's bhakti is transferred from one heart to another. You know,
Oh, I like that.
it's a
Mara, write
heart-to-heart
that
connection.
down, please.
Ooh,
That's gonna
takeaway.
be that's Carla's
Takeaway.
tattoo. Carla,
Okay.
Scott Bakos, get the tattoo on your neck. Bhakti is transmitted
From one heart.
one heart to another.
Oh, there could kind of be like one heart over here on the neck, and then the other heart on the other part of the neck, and then it could say bhakti is transmitted from one heart. What do you think, Mara? You can do that
Yeah.
with the haircut.
Hey,
and with that?
communi-
It's like
hey-
you're really, you know, like you're really blowing people away.
Hey, community, got to give special love to our Zoomer, Gopal Prabhu and Gaurangi Priya. Gopal's in the hospital today. He's going to chant a big Hare Krishna Maha Mantra going out to his well-being. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He's actually
Gopal is-
listening to us live from the hospital today. So send him some love, Zoomers.
He's one of the sweetest, hardest people I've
He's
ever
a
met.
sweet guy, man.
He really
The
is.
sweet guy.
You know, also my prayer. You know, my heart's a little heavy today, just thinking of the Ukraine and
Oh my
the
God.
people there. It really is heartbreaking for all the people, you know, of Ukraine and people of Russia too. You know, and you know, also especially dear to our hearts is, you know, Ukraine is a place where bhakti yoga is a big deal. You know, it's like there's thousands and thousands of Krishna devotees there. You know, really
Who have
spread
no
like
issues
wildfire.
with anybody. They have no issues with anybody, and someone's coming on dropping bombs on their heads.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
They have some of the biggest festivals, like, you know, bhakti festivals in Ukraine. I think like every year they'd have a festival. It's like 15,000 people come or something like that. You know, but yeah, people that we know, you know, wonderful people. And so, you know, I think of our friends from Ukraine. I think of our friends from Russia. You know, on both ends. You know, just wishing that this wasn't happening, and hopefully, it can, you know. Hopefully some kind of it could before long it could be wrapped up and there can be some peace for these people.
You know, I did a panel discussion, a yoga panel thing last night with Brian Kest and some other, and Erica
Well, look at you
Garcia.
on some big
did a
time
panel.
yoga panel.
I did a yoga
You're
panel.
a panelist.
Okay. Panelist, my friend. It was good, but we talked about failure. Failure is an option, and we spoke about how failure shapes us, and how, of course, it went into 2020 and 2021, and how it was just a series of failure.
That was
I
the
opened-
theme of the
Yeah.
panel. Okay.
Yeah, of this discussion was, and you know, I was like, "Hi, my name is Raghunath, and I'm a failure." It's just everything's falling apart in my life, in more ways. And I mean, everybody lost everything, and sometimes it was our yoga studios, our yoga business, our, you know, a lot of divorces. You know, you know, Gopal struggled with his health. You know, all 2020 and stuff like that. He's been struggling like that, and you know, then I got COVID, and then all the people. It's one of these things, like bhakti is the medicine for whatever sinkhole we step into, because it's just there for you. You know, you're left at these forks in the road of how am I going to react now? Like there's every reason, good reason to be bitter, to be angry, to be, you know, to be broken, to want to take revenge, to have spite
Fearful,
in my heart.
depressed.
Fearful, anxiety ridden. And it really helped having the chain to hold on to. In India, they have these bathing, you know, Radha Kund is like a sandstone bathing tank, they call it. It's sort of like a
Tank. Right, the tank again. Tank.
what do we call these things? I don't know what you call it, a man-made bathing lake, but they always have these chains to hold on to because the steps get slippery. So the Bhagavatam has been like this place to really hold on to and take shelter of. And as you climb out of that bathing tank, you've got these chains that to hold on to. And the Bhagavatam has been like that. And there is, and I will say in a type of reflection, there's something sweet about, and maybe you could relate to this, people out there. There's something sweet in our destitution. It's like the universe puts you in destitution.
Yeah.
And we feel like, what the hell, God? And I'm sure Ukraine feels like this right now. Like, what? Any moment, really? I could lose everything that I know and love. Any moment for nothing that I've done. I'm just sitting here chanting Hare Krishna, or I have my shop open. I'm selling bananas and apples, and all of a sudden the bombs. Why? How is that fair? And in that destitution, there is every good reason to be angry, frustrated, bitter. And somehow the Bhagavatam is saying, or you can just deeply connect with me. And which is the goal of yoga anyway, is how can I deeply connect? How can there be a union, right, with the soul and God? And maybe it's the most Krishna conscious I've ever been in those times when, remember we did Zoom for my COVID hospital bed. I had pneumonia.
I remember.
I'm holding my Govardhan Sheila, and you just don't know what side of the bed you're going to wake up on. Yeah. And it's miserable, and it's real, it's real. And it's beautiful too.
Well, that's the point, right? There's grief in life, right? There's going to be grief, and that grief, it can breed a type of bitterness. In one sense, it tastes bitter, right? I mean, there's no question. These hard things that we go through in life, that they taste bitter. But that bitterness, the idea, the way that we understand it, is that it's meant to lead us to deeper levels of surrender, right? Where you kind of just like, in your heart, you say, okay, enough. I've really had, and surrenders. This is, we've talked about this word a bit, but really that word should be, it should be connected. It should be linked to the idea of sweetness, because there's a feeling of sweetness when you surrender your life to God, right? So there's a bittersweetness in the suffering that we go through in life, and that sweetness is one's intimacy with God, right? The grief, it can bring you much closer. It can shake you out of your illusion. It can help you say, I need to reconnect, and there's a sweetness in that reconnection, in that intimacy with God. I would like to check out your panel discussion, Raghu. Is there a place where people can do that?
I'll find out. Right. They're gonna. Of course, it's all done online nowadays. So there's a way to get on it, but yeah. It was good. Maybe I could post what I did, actually, my panel. I did just a short 20-minute class on
maybe you could put it on the
panel
or something.
Separate than the panel. Maybe I could sneak it on Patreon. I'm allowed to, but maybe I can. Okay. What do you say we get into the Srimad-bhagavatam?
I'm ready.
All right. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad-bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloki bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Madatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know what? I was born in the darkness of ignorance, Prabhu. I really was. I was like, it's amazing. Nothing. Just feeling around in the dark, trying to figure out life. Oh, Krishna, thank you.
It's like one of those animals, like those moles or something. They just they can't even see. They're just sniffing around. Yeah. It's like
my whole life was just sniffing around. Sense gratification here. No. How about over here? Oh, Krishna. All right. So Mara, hit it.
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 18.
Let's go back to 17 though, because that was such an important one, right?
It's a good one.
You with us, Raghu? Did you pull it up
7.
earlier? Or?
Text 7. Oh, it's it's pulled up. It's pulled
Is
up.
it?
Oh,
and we're on text 7?
Oh yeah. Yes.
No, we're not.
17, Raghu.
Oh, 17. She also was breathing very heavily.
Who's breathing heavily now?
Hare Krishna. Suniti. Suniti, the
Suniti,
mother of
who
Dhruva.
is? Okay,
The mother
let's
of
get a
Dhruva.
little context here again, right?
Rewind it, Kaustubha.
You
Why don't
rewind
you
it.
rewind
You
this?
rewind it today. I want you. To
Okay,
rewind
what's going on is there's a king and a queen, right? And the king's got two wives. One is called Suruchi, and one is called Suniti. I'm sorry, Suniti. And they got two little kids, I guess they're not cousin, they're sort of cousin brothers or something. But
Stepbrothers.
so the king tends to favor one of the queens, Suruchi, and so the child that he favors is on his lap, and he's giving him a little horsey ride on his knee, and the other kid says, "Hey, I want to sit on my dad's lap too." And instead of the stepmother saying, "Yeah, okay, wait your turn,"
sweet.
right? Instead of she could have put him on her lap. She said, "You know what? You're not going to go on your father's lap. You don't deserve it. You know why? Because you didn't come from my womb.
Oof.
You better like go to the forest, become a yogi, do some austerities, take birth again from my womb." Like, how old is she going to be? How many years does he have to do like when you're
He'll be too old to
120?
sit on his lap by that time.
But anyway, but if you want to get on your dad's lap, you better understand.
It goes through me, right?
It comes through me. I'm like the jefe. I'm in charge here. Okay. And so he was really hurt. The little child was scorned. Ever get scorned when you're 5 and you're just like, I never forget the scorn. There's sometimes I was scorned and I've never forgotten it ever.
Scorned.
Yeah.
You got scorned.
Can I share one with you?
It sounds like a big time squirrel to me, but
my kids all know this story because I do it to them as a joke. But I was in line. I was at Cub Scout camp, and I was in line, and you get your bowl and your cereal, and then you go to the guy giving out milk, and I was like, and he gave me milk, but he gave me like a tiny bit of milk. I must have been 7 years old. That's how he gave me just a little bit of milk, and I was like,
more, sir. Like Oliver.
I was like Oliver Twist. I was like, can I have a little bit more? And he didn't answer me. He just looked at me. I go, I'm sorry. I just want a little bit more milk. There's hardly any milk in here. He looked at me and he just goes, this is a Cub Scout camp. We're all a bunch of tiny little children. He's an adult representing authority. And he just looks at me and he goes, like, just breaks the peace of the morning and just goes, stir it around.
Stir it around. That's not going to do anything.
Like even as a child, I was like, what kind of answer is that? First of all, I'm a child. Second of all, I was like, how is that going to make more milk appear? Stirring it around will not make more milk come into the cereal. And I was like, but he screamed it at me. I was like petrified. Oh. And it scarred me for life. So every time my kids want more anything, I always say, stir it around.
Oh, you still remember that, huh?
Yeah. Who would say that to a child?
Well, this was a little heavier than that, Dhruva's circumstances. We do sympathize. We do deeply sympathize, and it does explain a lot, actually. But Dhruva, he was really hurt by this, obviously, and he goes to his mother, who is named Suniti, and Suniti, you would expect maybe she would like storm off and like yell at the other woman or go to her husband and say, what is this? Like, why didn't you speak up? That was part of the problem, right? Was Dhruva, he turned to his father and the father didn't say anything either. Right.
Like no one validated him. That was like me at Cub Scout camp looking around. I was like, no one's going to jump in here. No other adult wielding power will correct him.
Pouring more milk.
Give me something so I don't have a big dry mouth of Wheaties.
Granola. So Dhruva goes back to his mother. The mother, her name is Suniti, again, which means?
Suniti means one who's, very good with rules.
Good guidance.
Information.
Good guidance.
Instruction. Niti is like instructions.
She's hurt. She's really hurt herself. She's not hurt on her own behalf. She's hurt on behalf of her child who she loves.
Yeah.
And then she speaks this to him, this very important life lesson, big time takeaway, something that every child should learn, right?
Yeah.
Every child should learn this. It's something that we should carry with us for our entire life. Text 17, hit it, Raghu.
Text 18. Remind me I have a limp
17.
Remind me I have a Limp Bizkit story for you.
Okay, I'll remember that. Keep that in
Okay.
mind. Text 17.
She also is breathing very heavily. So this is Suniti, very upset
Yeah.
now. She's also breathing very heavily and did not know the factual remedy for the painful sorrow, just like me in Cub Scout camp. Not finding any remedy, she said to her son, "My dear son, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. Anyone who inflicts pain upon others suffers himself from that pain."
Okay.
That's just a truth.
Mm-hmm.
You ever post something and someone writes truth?
Truth. Read that
Truth.
again.
Read that again.
This. This, right?
This. I don't like. You know what I really don't like on social media is when everybody's doing this now, and it was sort of cute at first. Now I'm ready to like pull up my hair out of my ears. Is when everyone does like those things, but they're imitating a song, and it's like, "Hey, everybody," they're singing some song by Barry Manilow or Barry White or somebody, and it's like them lip syncing.
It's not just songs; it's also just like recordings of people speaking. Right?
Driving me crazy now. At this
I don't
point,
even know where this stuff
it's
comes
over.
from.
Let this
Move
phase
on.
let's move on.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what does that have to do with what we're talking about here? This? I guess you said.
Oh, yeah, because you said this.
Okay.
This.
All right. So, but this is the point, right? In other words, this is Suniti. You know, she's got good guidance. This is guidance based on truth, right? Truth of the law of karma, right? That when we inflict pain on others, it brings pain to ourselves. Therefore, don't wish any pain on others. Don't wish any inauspiciousness on others. This is the very first thing she says, right? Like she sees he's upset. She can see he's burning, right? And she can recognize, I bet he's thinking, that he would like to, pain to be inflicted on these other people. She immediately addresses that, right? The first thing right off the bat. Hey, whatever you do, don't go there, right? Don't go there. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone.
All right. And
That's her first kind of guru step right there,
Big statement. I'm holding this one close to my heart.
Okay.
Suniti said, "My dear boy, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi is so because the king, your father, does not consider me his wife or even his maidservant. He feels ashamed to accept me. Therefore, it is a fact that you have taken birth from the womb of an unfortunate woman, and by being fed from her breast, you have grown up."
That's kind of heavy too. Obviously, there's some marital issues going on.
There had some marital issues, and she took it personally, and she's walking around with this weight, this pain.
But also that she kind of, we spoke a bit about this yesterday too, and I think, was it Nancy that kind of shared, there's that quote, "Dear Lord, give me the ability to recognize, to accept what I can't change, and the courage to change what I can," or something like that. I forget.
Serenity
exactly
prayer. Oh Lord, give me the
prayer?
serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Raghunath. The serenity prayer.
Serenity now.
Serenity. That's a different one.
It's a different.
That's a different serenity prayer. But she there's a certain sereneness that she had. She could recognize, what, I've dealt with this issue before. I've tried to deal with this issue before, but he just doesn't. I'm a second class citizen in his eyes, and that's the way it is. And she's not going to get angry and try to make something happen. She's going to make the best of the bad bargain. She's going to figure out what to do that's positive, work within her realm of influence, right?
Okay. Text 19. My dear boy, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi, your stepmother, although very harsh to hear, is factual. Therefore, if you desire at all to sit on the same throne as your stepbrother Uttam, then give up your envious attitude and immediately try to execute the instructions of your stepmother. Without further delay, you must engage yourself in the worshiping of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. Now, the stepmother said, "Listen, you got to perform austerities, go to the forest, etc." She said it probably flippantly or deriding in a deriding tone, but good Suniti is actually saying, "No, you got to take it seriously. You got to actually take this seriously. Get out in the forest and do some penance and auspicious things will happen.
Interesting, because there's a principle, right? Like, this is a principle that gets lost in our modern world, but like, truth from wherever it comes from is truth.
This.
Okay, this.
I'm just going to say this today.
Okay. So truth, wherever it comes from, is truth. Now, we can imagine that what it must have been like for Suniti, that here she is, she's married to a man who obviously she had love for.
Loveless marriage.
And now that the love of her husband seems to be transferred to this other woman, you would imagine that the natural emotional response would be animosity towards this woman. That anything that she would say, she would come back and say that, well, that whatever, how dare she say that? And this, but actually she recognized some truth in what this woman said, and she just said, actually, what she said is true. Right? What she said is true. That's it's not easy to do. That takes a certain, there's a certain depth of evolution for one to be able to respond like that.
The very person that you're envious of, instead of just like writing her off as the hussy of of the family,
Hussy.
he just says, you know what she said is true. Like, let's take our spiritual life seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. She got dealt a tough deck,
Yeah.
It's not like she's going to leave him.
Right.
She's in it. She's cemented
Committed.
to this guy. Cemented to this guy. Okay. Text 20. Suniti continued, the personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshiping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, imagine that, if your great-grandfather was Lord Brahma.
You're great.
Wouldn't that be cool? Acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. Just by worshiping Vishnu, he got the qualifications to create the universe.
We read about that in the second canto.
Yeah, that's like the family tree.
Brahma's prayers for creative energy.
Yeah. Although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the personality of Godhead, whom even great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulating the life air, the prana.
Okay. So she's like saying what she said was true. Now there's something interesting that happened in here. What's playing out? It's one of the main themes in this chapter, right? Is that what did Dhruva want? He was upset, right? And really he's going to go out to the forest to perform these austerities and perform this yoga, but his motive is impure, right? What's his motive?
His motive is revenge.
Yeah, kind of like I'll show them kind of thing, right?
Teach them a lesson.
It said that he wanted a kingdom greater than his father, right? Like, oh, I can't be king because I'm not born, in the womb of this one woman. Well, let me show you. I'll have a kingdom even greater than my father's. I'll be king, right? And with that motive, that's a materialistic motive, right? That's like we could say it's a karmic motive. He wants a material result. Mm-hmm. So, and he's going to go out and perform yoga to get it. And what his mother is saying is that actually the type of yoga that you should perform is yoga that's directed at God, right, at Krishna. It should be like he has the power to grant you what you want. Now, the Bhagavatam's not recommending that as motive, right? It's recommending bhakti, but not with this materialistic motive behind it. And this is a bit of a spoiler alert here. But what will happen is that motive will change, or in the end, Dhruva will regret that he did all these practices with a mixed motive, right? With a motive that wasn't pure. When he finally sees Lord Vishnu.
You're really spoiling it, aren't you?
Well,
it's good. We're just going to tell you the ending now.
It's good to have this context, right? It's good to have this context. But when he sees him, he's going to regret this. But there is a principle. Hot seat for you, Raghunath. I want a verse. I want a shloka. You see, I see Karuna perk up right here. She's like, "Oh, there's a shloka. They're going to talk about shloka. Maybe I know it." And so there's a shloka from Bhagavatam, right? And I know you're more versed in the Gita shlokas.
Tell me, what's the question?
But it has to do with whatever your motive may be. it's best to approach Krishna.
Oh, I got this one.
All right.
First word.
Akama.
Akama sarvakama va moksha karma udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena ti.
Yajeta purusham param.
That's it. That's a good verse. That's a good verse to learn. Akama sarvakama va. We quote that a lot in Wisdom of the Sages, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Whether you're filled with kama, moksha karma, whether you have the desire for kama just doesn't mean sexuality or sensuality. It means you want stuff. So whether you filled with kama or you got karma, you have desires for liberation. Akama sarvo kama va.
Akama means I have no material desires, right? Akama.
Oh, right. Well, you have no desires. You're filled with desires. You desire liberation.
Yeah.
Worship the personality of Godhead. Now, it's not true with a lot of the demigods. You worship the demigods. What do you get? You get your desires fulfilled. Now, the interesting thing about getting your desires fulfilled is the fruit of getting your desires filled is, and we've all experienced this, like, I got what I want. This is great. And then you lose that thing that you get. For some reason or another, it gets taken away. Or you want something really bad. This is great. And then it gets damaged, what you have. I got this really good car and I got damaged. Someone hit my car. Not much, but just enough to damage my door. And I was like, oh, man.
Recently?
Yeah, just recently.
Maybe covered up with a stripe.
There's like a weird shaped stripe on my door. That seems out of place.
Well,
but anyway.
On a stripe.
So yeah, it's sort of like, ow. And then, or sometimes you, so this is the issue with desires. And it's not like desires are like, now I'm fulfilled. What happens is it's like you put some gasoline on the flame and the flame actually goes down and then it goes right back up even higher than before. It exacerbates our desires. Desires can't be fulfilled in this world. So the problem with worshiping the demigods is not that the demigods don't deliver. They do deliver. It just exacerbates our material desires. Where if you worship Lord Vishnu with material desires, he sometimes gives those desires. He sometimes makes you realize those desires are sort of petty. And ultimately, he gives you actually love of Godhead. And this is where we're going with this story.
In the commentary to that verse, Akama Sarvakama Va. I'll read the translation. We didn't read the translation, did we?
Oh, it's on the board. Mara put it on. Good job, Mara. You put that on the board. Mara. It's the haircut's giving her superpowers.
Well, for $600, I would hope so.
$600 well spent.
Okay. So a person who has broader intelligence, right? Broader than the average person. Person who has broader intelligence, whether they are full of material desires, without any material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead, right? So that's where you go. And then Prabhupada, in his commentary, writes, one with a broader outlook, even with the desire for material enjoyment or for liberation, should take to the worship of the Lord directly. And everyone, whether an akama or sakama or mokshakama, should worship the Lord with great expedience. This implies, because there's that word tivrena, right, with like intensity, right, in this verse. So he goes on, this implies that bhakti yoga may be perfectly administered without any mixture of karma and jnana, without any desire for material things or desire for liberation. As the unmixed sun rays is very forceful and is therefore called tivra. That's the name for the unmixed, like if there's no clouds and the sun is just coming down strong.
Tivra.
So as the unmixed sun ray is very forceful and is therefore called tivra, similarly, unmixed bhakti yoga of hearing, chanting, etc. may be performed by one, but may be performed by one and all regardless of inner motive. So like, so when he says like unmixed bhakti, he means the activities that are unmixed bhakti, like for instance, reading Bhagavatam, like for instance, chanting Mahamantra, right? He's saying that one, even if whatever your inner motive, better that you do this and you approach Krishna for it because you're, as you're saying, you're starting that connection. And so that's the advice that's coming right now from Dhruva's mother. Okay, you want something of this world, better to approach the Lord without any materialism, purely out of love. That's where Bhagavatam goes. That's where all yoga goes. But she's saying, okay, you've got this desire. It's really intense in you. Well, approach Lord Vishnu for it.
We're having a blizzard right outside my window right now.
Okay.
Just thought I'd share that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's carry on.
Yeah, let's continue. There we go.
Squirrel me this. Okay. Stir it around. Okay.
Text 20, I believe.
Text.
Right?
Wait, isn't it 21? 20. Okay.
I don't think we finished 20.
Okay, let's
Start it over.
Start it over. Rewind it. The personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshiping his lotus feet, your great-grandfather, Lord Brahma, acquired the necessary qualifications to create the universe. Although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the personality of Godhead, whom even great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulations of the life air. Text 21. Suniti informed her son, your grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu. Look at that family lineage. Imagine the pictures on the wall of the house. There's your grandfather, Lord Brahma.
That's with 4 heads, that one right there.
He's got 4 heads. Okay. Your grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu, executed great sacrifices with distribution of charity, and thereby with unflinching faith and devotion, he worshipped and satisfied the personality of Godhead. By acting in that way, he achieved the greatest success in material happiness and afterwards achieved liberation, which is impossible to obtain by worshiping the demigods.
No, Raghunath, you always drop the word supreme. Is that like intentional or is that some kind of...
Or do you think I'm demonic?
Yeah.
The supreme, the
You just
personality
roll
of
right
Godhead.
over that word. Does it sound too much to you? Is it too...
Just like so many words, supreme personality of Godhead. Like the SPG. How about that? I'm always looking away to cut corners. Of course, it's the supreme personality of Godhead. Once you say, I figure once you say personality of Godhead, it's sort of.
Well, you see, what does Godhead mean?
I don't even know.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, it's good to know, right? You got to think about that. So Godhead means, just think of it like Godness, right? Like Godness. He's the supreme personality of Godness. So in one sense, like we're all personalities of Godness. Like we're all the energy of God, right?
Yeah.
But he's the supreme personality of Godness, like that. Think of it like that.
Godness. Okay. All right.
Right? Godhead means godhood, right? God.
Forgive me. I think
right,
I've
God
made an
power.
offense, Mara, to Kaustubha. I didn't say supreme personality.
No,
I
was actually just honestly wondering if it was like, you know, just like
was a little dyslexic
like
or something. Like just
subliminal
can't read that
kind
word.
of thing, yeah. Or
Like I'm God. I'm sick of God trying to be God all the time.
Why does he have to be supreme? All right. So anyway, that's what the supreme personality.
You want to hear something funny my kid said to me yesterday?
What is it? Who?
I posted that picture
Which
of that
kid?
guy, Tarun.
Tarun. Okay, the 8-year-old.
Someone sent me that. AJ Sullivan sent me that picture of Dax Shepard wearing a shelter shirt.
Right.
And I'm Dax Shepard. I guess he has a big podcast. I should get on his podcast. But anyway, I said to my son, "Hey,
he may not even. He might have just liked the picture of Krishna on it for all you know.
no." He wrote, "I'm finally getting this picture." He's a hardcore guy.
Okay.
But anyway, I said to my son, "Hey, what's that?" That's a picture of this famous guy. I said, and then there was some other band we were listening to that was, that band, my freaking 8-year-old listens to Fall Out Boy. I don't even know who that is. But anyway, he's just playing, and I want to play this band. And those guys, according to Paramananda, were also straight edge guys too.
Fall Out Boy?
Fall Out Boy. They're good, actually. Anyway, so then my 8-year-old's listening to this. I don't know where he gets this from. I'm not playing Fall Out Boy at home. But anyway, to make a long story short, those guys, I think, were fans of Youth of Today. And so I said to my son, I said, yeah, there's some famous bands that were like fans of Shelter. And he looks at me and goes, Dad, would that be considered bragging?
Oh.
And I was like, oh.
From the mouths of babes. It was like, was he saying it like with was it like a little sharp the way he said it, or was it just like totally
he was
innocent?
like, you're bragging. You're bragging. And I was like, I don't know. I
Sticking
guess
that
I'm
right
trying to
in your
impress my 8-year-old because I don't think you're that impressed with me anymore. Oh, Krishna.
You say it's not exactly bragging; it's a desperate attempt to win your affection and respect.
I just snorted. Excuse me. All right, getting back on.
Okay.
My dear Dhruva,
My dear boy.
my dear boy, you also should take shelter of the personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees.
Oh, that's important.
He is. He's Bhaktavatsal. Person seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, just situate the supreme personality of Godhead in
There
your
you
heart.
go. You almost did it again.
And without deviating for a moment, engage always in his service.
Let's read that again. Read that
This.
again. My dear boy.
Well, my dear boy, you also should take shelter of the supreme personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Person seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, just situate the supreme personality of Godhead in your heart. Without deviating for a moment, engage always in his service.
Isn't he there already, though, Raghunath? What does she mean by situate him in your heart?
Just situate the personality of God in your. Meaning, I take that to mean our consciousness is sort of like all over. Like sit there, be
Bring
with
your
him.
bring your consciousness to him.
Bring
in
your
heart.
function. Yeah, he's already there.
Right.
But
right.
I'm just not there.
It's just more of a poetic way of saying it, we could say, right? Situate him in your heart. He's there in the heart, but become aware that he's in your heart always. You know, these are great statements here. So she's saying that the way to, you know, the way that's really what's going to really solve your problems, right? What's going to really solve your problems is reconnecting to God in your own heart. Yogis have been doing this for a long time, right? This is not only do they break free, you know, your problem is like you're upset about how you were treated. Well, yogis, you know, for forever, they've been reconnecting with God in their heart and becoming free from the cycle of birth and death. You know, like they become completely liberated. So in one sense, your problem is small, but this can definitely deal with it. So situate. First, he says, perform your allotted occupation. He's only just a kid right now, right?
I know, right?
but I guess she's alluding to the fact that, you know, like, I guess prepare yourself to perform your duties in life.
By the way, different kids are different. Like, I mean, you know, we got Karuna here. She's studying shloka. She's 8 years old. You know, and different kids have different, you know, it's just they have some different karma they got in this lifetime. So
It's true.
I think maybe he heard this and he was like, okay, Mom, got that. Check. My great grandfather is Brahma. You know, he's not an ordinary kid.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking that too when I was reading this. It's kind of like we're not like clean slates. We're full of doubt. We're full of suspicion. We're full of, you know, and you know, it's natural because we live in a world of hypocrisy and dishonesty and so on. But it sounds almost like a pure kind of, you know, his faith in her is like complete, right? My mother, whatever she tells me is going to be truthful. Whatever my mother tells me is going to be for my benefit. I accept she knows more than I know. I will benefit from following her instructions. And she's just saying it straight out, right? And she says, become purified by executing your allotted duty. Just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart. So as you're saying, I think you're right on with this, Raghunath. It's like bring your awareness to God in your heart, which is a yogic principle. And without deviating for a moment, always engages in its service, right? But you know, we hear about this, right? In the beginning of Bhagavatam, we heard that verse, right? It was kind of the first statement by Sutta Goswami, where he said, you know, he was asked, you know, what's the highest dharma? You know, what grants one the highest satisfaction, the complete satisfaction, the self-atma supersidity? And he said that it's bhakti, right? What's the verse?
Dharma svanustita pungshan vishvakshena katoshuya.
A little bit before that.
Oh man, I was like really like proud of myself.
You're close. Savai pungsa paro dharma.
Savai
Right?
pungsa paro dharma yato bhaktir huksajay. Ahaitukiya pratiyata yatma suprasidity.
Yeah. So ahoitiki. So it's saying that the highest, that what does deliver Atma Supersiddhi? What is the highest dharma? Paro dharma, the highest dharma, is bhakti, right? Yato bhakti at Hoksajay. It's offering with love, offering your heart to God. But it has to be ahoitiki apratiyata, right? Ahoitiki means, well, this is kind of Dhruva's issue, right? It has to be without any mundane motive. Yeah, unmotivated, right? I don't want something from God. I want to give my heart to God. And but it's also apratiyata, uninterrupted, right? Uninterrupted. This is again yogic principle. I've been thinking a lot about yoga, like I've been writing some stuff, but this idea that whatever comes through our senses becomes registered in our subconscious mind is what we call samskaras, right? And those samskaras, it's not just like I saw something and the memory of it is stored there, but it's memory that's blended with emotion, with feeling, and they sit there in our subconscious mind waiting to kind of sprout at the right moment. And they sprout and they come to the forefront of our mind. And then we experience them as what in yogic language they call vrittis, or really just patterns of thought, right? And the idea is that the yogi, what does it mean that, apratiyata, that our mind, she says, without deviating for a moment, situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart without deviating for a moment. Like your mind should always be connected to God. What does that mean? It means that whatever's going on through our impulsive mind, whatever's going on through our reflective mind, and even our ego, that they're unaffected by like these samskars that would turn one away, right?
Right.
It's like you've learned to process the information in the computer of your mind in such a way where it's always moving in one direction. It's all aligned. It's like a holistic kind of state of consciousness where my desires, they're connected to God. My conception of myself, which means it's more than just conception of myself. Like when we say ahankar or ego, it means self-identity, like the ideas that I think of who I am, but also like what they call self-awareness, or the very experience of who I am. I connect that all to God, right? And then also the buddhi, the intellect, that how I process information rationally, I process it all moving in the direction of God, right? I say, this is unfavorable for my moving in the direction of God, so I'm going to leave it behind. This is favorable. I'm going to promote this to the forefront of my mind. And in this way, it's conceivable that the yogi can, without deviating for a moment, because they've learned how to control the mind, all the information that's processing through it is all moving in one direction. And that's what she's asking Dhruva to do.
This
right there. Oh, we're out of time.
You're so in transcendental ecstasy, Kaustubha. You're not even aware of the time factor, which is affecting all of us.
No, I was. You weren't.
All of us are dying, but you're transcendental. You're like Narada Muni floating around, absorbed in the Bhagavatam. It's so lovely.
No, you were.
Okay.
I said
Okay.
Time is up.
$600. Any takeaway?
What is that? That's
600.
We're $600 haircut from Butler, Pennsylvania.
By the way, it's not a $600 haircut. We just made that number up randomly, and now it's sticking. It's sticking.
People are like,
People really believe this stuff. Like, really, Barra?
Good haircut.
All right, takeaways. Character and competence need to fit together.
Oh.
Become qualified, but enter with humility.
Okay.
Qualified, enter with humility.
Bhakti.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was the Carl Jung thing.
Oh.
Bhakti is transmitted from one heart to another.
True.
I like
That's
that
the
one.
tattoo.
Like
That's
that
the tattoo.
one. That's it. I'm get that.
There's every good reason to be angry, anxious, depressed, but the Bhagavatam is our anchor.
There you go.
Our anchor, our chain. I said chain, but anchor, yes.
Chain's coming. There's sweetness in destitution when you find connection to divinity.
Ooh.
Sweetness.
Grief tastes bitter, but it's meant to lead to surrender.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Gets bittersweet.
Bitter grief.
Hold on to the chains of bhakti.
That was Raghu there.
Alice
When
in
we
Chains.
inflict, when we inflict,
Alice in Chains. Right. We're chains
When
of
we-
bhakti.
when we inflict pain on others, we suffer from that pain.
There's got to be a Krishna core band, Chains of Bhakti.
Chains of bhakti.
Truth is truth wherever it comes from.
Where truth is truth.
And stir it around, Raghu.
From wherever. What is it? Stir it around is one.
Yeah.
Stir it
Around.
Yeah. Stir it
You got to just go up to your kids today when everything's really peaceful and calm. Just go, stir it around.
around. What?
See how they react to that.
It'll scar them forever, that scorn, Raghu.
It
You're
still
still
affects
dealing
me.
with
It still affects
it.
me.
What was that person's name?
Yeah, now that there's internet, let's call them out.
Call him out. Cancel
Call him
that
out.
person.
Cancel. Probably old. He's probably very old and angry at the world.
Still saying
Check it
stir
out
it
on
around.
a 7-year-old. A wolf scout. Thanks everybody for joining us. Woo! Hey, me and Cindy Lunsford are doing a training at the farm as well. Bhakti
Farm.
Vinyas, Thursday through a Sunday immersion. Excited for that. That's
When is that?
happening in, I don't even know. I'll announce it tomorrow. But it's going to go. It's all going to go out. Is that? You know when that is, Mara?
I want to say May 19th to 22nd, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Are you in for the meatballs with that
Yeah.
one?
Rachel says yes, so I think we're good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, May 19th to 22nd.
May 19th, 22nd, me and Cindy Lunsford, Yogeshwari at Super Soul Farm. And if you like what we're doing, go to Apple Podcasts and write a little review for us. Tell the world that you love us 5 stars worth. You know, tell them to stir it around, stir around the love. And every time you write a review, it somehow helps our algorithms. I don't know why, but it does. So write us a review and tell us a little bit about your story, and we read all those. Thanks
And
everybody
we
for
need
joining
help
us.
with our algorithms.
Our algorithms are a little off.
They're
Hey,
stunted.
we also want to thank all our Patreon members. We have a lot of Patreon members. They contribute and they keep the show going. This show needs you to contribute to this thing happening. And I want to thank everybody for doing it. And we're working this year. How can we get this podcast bigger and bigger and bigger? On your part, you can go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. And now we're just sort of pushing our marketing and how to get the word of the Srimad-bhagavatam to all the people out there. If you feel some benefit coming from this is our goal. We want to, what's it called?
What?
Magnify it. What's it called?
Expand
When you
it?
make
Yeah.
bigger. Expand it. There's words that mean that.
Blow it up.
Blow it up.
Large.
Explode it. Enlarge it. Anyway, that's what we're doing. So tell a friend about the show. If you got a friend on the spiritual fence, push them over to the Bhagavatam side. Give them a little love.
All right. And
Little
what's
sway.
tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow we have Q&A day. Bring your
Sleep in.
questions. Sleep in Saturday. Bring your questions to Mara, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And then, my friend, we got your favorite astrologer and ours, Drew Lawrence, is back on the show. We're going to talk about everything for how the chart can help you with your identifying your strengths and weaknesses, your abilities, your talents, your past life insights, your health and well-being. What is it all about anyway? Anyway, we're going to talk about how astrology is relevant in a Bhakti-yoga world. And I'm really excited for Drew's contribution. Last time he got so much positive feedback, we had to have him back. So check that out Sunday, Drew Lawrence, Vedic Astrology. Now,
Where's baby Jesus this morning?